world is full of mysteries, and among the most perplexing are cases of people who vanish without a trace. While many missing person cases involve tragic circumstances, some stand out due to their bizarre and inexplicable nature. These cases capture the public's imagination, leaving unanswered questions and lingering unease. We will delve into some of the most bizarre missing person cases, exploring the circumstances surrounding their disappearances and the various theories that attempt to explain these unsettling events, patterns, and commonalities. Before diving into the specific cases, it's important to recognize some recurring themes in these bizarre disappearances. Lack of physical evidence. Many of these cases are characterized by a significant lack of physical evidence, making it difficult for investigators to determine what happened. For example, in the Sotter children's case, despite a devastating fire that destroyed their home, no remains of the 5 missing children were ever found. Conflicting witness accounts or lack of witnesses. Witness accounts can be conflicting or unreliable, and in some cases, there are no witnesses at all, adding to the mystery. In Maura Murray's case, the accounts of those who saw her after her car accident vary, and there is no definitive answer as to what happened to her in the minutes before she disappeared. Unusual circumstances. These cases often involve strange or unexplained events that defy easy explanations. For instance, Lars Mittank's sudden and frantic flight from Varna Airport, leaving behind all his belongings, is a particularly baffling element of his disappearance. Mental health as a factor. In some cases, there is speculation that mental health issues may have played a role in the disappearance. Lars Mittank's paranoid behavior before his disappearance and Maura Murray's possible struggles with personal problems raise questions about the influence of mental health in these cases. Understanding these commonalities provides a framework for analyzing the individual cases and appreciating the complexities that make them so bizarre. Maura Murray. On a cold February night in 2004, Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, seemingly vanished into thin air. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Maura had been dealing with a series of personal struggles, including a recent DUI charge and the theft of a credit card. She had also been involved in a car accident just days before, causing significant damage to her father's car. On the day of her disappearance, Maura left campus after emailing her professors, falsely claiming a death in the family. She drove her father's car, packed with belongings, and purchased alcohol at a liquor store. Later that evening, she crashed the car on a rural road in Haverhill, New Hampshire. A passing motorist offered assistance, but by the time police arrived at the scene, Maura was nowhere to be found. When police examined the car, they found that her cell phone, wallet with ID, and credit cards were missing. Maura's disappearance coincided with the early days of social media, which has had a significant impact on the case. Online platforms have allowed for the rapid dissemination of information, the sharing of theories, and the generation of renewed interest in the case. However, it has also led to misinformation and speculation, making it challenging to separate fact from fiction. Despite extensive searches and numerous theories, Maura's whereabouts remain unknown. Theories of Maura Murray's disappearance, abduction. Many believe Maura was abducted by someone who stopped to help her after her car accident. Intentional disappearance. Some speculate that Maura planned her disappearance due to personal struggles or an unexpected pregnancy. Suicide. Another theory suggests that Maura may have taken her own life due to her ongoing personal issues. Lost in the woods. Some believe that Maura may have wandered into the woods after the crash and died due to exposure or an accident. The Springfield Three. In June 1992, the quiet town of Springfield, Missouri, was shaken by the baffling disappearance of three women: 47-year-old Cheryl Levitt, her 19-year-old daughter Suzanne, Susie Streeter, and Susie's friend, 18-year-old Stacy McCall. The three women were last seen at Levitt's home after attending graduation parties. Specifically, they disappeared between 2:15 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. on June 7th. When a friend arrived the next morning, she found the house unlocked, the women's cars parked outside, and no sign of the three women. The only indication of a struggle was a broken porch light, and a strange message was left on the answering machine but was inadvertently erased. The lack of evidence and the fact that all their personal belongings, including cars and purses, were left behind have made this case one of the most perplexing missing person cases in history. The lack of clues in a case involving three missing individuals is particularly striking. Theories of the Springfield Three disappearance targeted attack. Some believe that Cheryl Levitt may have been the target of the attack, possibly by someone she knew. Random abduction. Others theorize that the women were victims of a random act of violence, possibly by someone who saw them driving and followed them home. Involvement of Susie's ex-boyfriend. A theory suggests that Susie's ex-boyfriend, who was reportedly involved in a grave robbing gang, may have been involved. Lars Mittank. In 2014, 28-year-old Lars Mittank from Germany disappeared under bizarre circumstances while on vacation in Bulgaria. After getting into a fight with other tourists over a football match and sustaining a ruptured eardrum, Lars was advised not to fly and stayed behind while his friends returned home. Initially, he seemed to be in good spirits, but his behavior soon took a dramatic turn. He began acting strangely and paranoid, claiming in phone calls to his mother that people were trying to kill him. The last time Lars was seen, he was captured on CCTV footage, running out of Varna Airport, scaling a fence, and disappearing into the surrounding woods. He left behind all his belongings, including his passport and wallet. This footage has been widely circulated online, making Lars arguably the most famous missing person on YouTube. There have been reported sightings of Lars after his disappearance, including a possible sighting by a lorry driver in Varna about a year later, and another potential sighting by a German lorry driver in 2019. However, none of these sightings have been confirmed. Theories of Lars Mittank's disappearance. Psychological breakdown. One theory suggests that Lars suffered a psychological breakdown due to the antibiotics he was taking or a possible concussion from the fight. Voluntary disappearance. Some believe that Lars may have intentionally disappeared to escape perceived threats or start a new life. Accidental death. Another possibility is that Lars, in his confused state, wandered into the wilderness and died due to exposure or an accident. Brandon Swanson. In May 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson vanished in rural Minnesota after his car went into a ditch. While on the phone with his parents, Brandon described his surroundings and attempted to guide them to his location. However, despite being on the phone for 47 minutes, his parents were unable to find him. The call ended abruptly, suggesting a possible sudden event or realization that may have contributed to his disappearance. Brandon's car was later found miles away from where he believed he was, and bloodhounds tracked his scent to the Yellow Medicine River, where the trail ended. It's worth noting that there was no evidence to suggest that Brandon was intoxicated or impaired at the time of his disappearance. A tragic outcome of this case was the passing of Brandon's Law in Minnesota. This law requires law enforcement to take missing person reports without delay regardless of the missing person's age, if there are dangerous circumstances. Previously, there were often delays in response for missing adults, which may have hindered the search for Brandon. Theories of Brandon Swanson's disappearance. Accidental drowning. One theory suggests that Brandon may have fallen into the river and drowned, although no body has been found. Foul play. Some speculate that Brandon may have encountered someone with ill intentions after his phone call ended. Accident or exposure. Another theory proposes that Brandon may have succumbed to the elements or fallen into an unseen hazard in the dark. The Sodder children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, a fire broke out in the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. While the parents and 4 of their 9 children escaped, 5 children were never seen again. Despite a thorough search, no remains were ever found. The official cause of the fire was attributed to faulty wiring, but the Sodder family always believed that their children were kidnapped. They pointed to several suspicious circumstances, including a missing ladder, a strange phone call before the fire, and alleged sightings of the children after the fire. Adding to the mystery, a photo of a man resembling Lewis, one of the missing children, was sent to the family years later. Theories of the Sodder children's disappearance kidnapping by the Mafia. One theory suggests that the Sicilian Mafia may have kidnapped the children in retaliation for George Sodder's outspoken criticism of Mussolini. This theory is particularly intriguing given the historical context and the potential motives for such an act. Arson and abduction. Some believe that the fire was intentionally set to cover up the kidnapping of the children. Accidental fire and survival. Another theory proposes that the fire was accidental and the children somehow survived and were taken in by someone else. The most bizarre missing person cases continue to fascinate and perplex us. These cases remind us that the world is full of mysteries and that sometimes people vanish without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease. While we may never know the full truth behind these disappearances, the ongoing investigations and media attention ensure that these cases remain in the public consciousness. They serve as a reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of mystery. Moreover, these cases have had a tangible impact on society. Brandon Swanson's disappearance led to the enactment of Brandon's Law, demonstrating how these tragedies can spur changes in law enforcement procedures and raise awareness of missing person issues. The enduring interest in these cases also highlights the importance of continued investigation and the need for improved resources and strategies for finding missing persons and bringing closure to their families. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you have any thoughts or theories, be sure to share them in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.